Welcome everyone to the League of Legends NA 1v1 tournament. We're hosting a 1v1 ARAM tournament right now, and I'm here with my partner Obsidio.
Hello there, hello.
He will be casting this game with us, so hopefully we have a fun tournament and things just go well. Currently we have Pink Octopus here versus Abnormal Dead. And okay, we're doing the ban sequence currently. Hopefully things should just run smoothly.
Yeah, I was so since we're playing Howling Abyss, I was actually considering a lot of different kind of champions because of course meta champions are buffed and nerfed based on the Howling Abyss spreadsheet that you can find on the internet. You know, certain champions get 85% damage taken, 120%. So a couple champions are arbitrarily stronger and have better linear scaling in this game mode, specifically that of Shyvana and Bard. They get stacks for their passive just for existing in the game because there's no objectives or chimes around the map that you can actually collect, so they just give it to you over time. And since it's only one lane, you can obviously get a lot more chimes or a lot more of these little scaling statistics. So maybe someone could figure this out and pick one of the champions. But overall, like, it's quite different than Summoner's Rift. A lot of the champions do have a more of a different feel when it comes to the buffs and nerfs, due to how the landscape of just being mid lane kind of changes things. So
I see. All right, so we're getting the ban sequences out currently, and okay, so we have some Seraphine, Nico, Ari. So these are decent bans.
Mostly mages. I can see why a lot of them can be. So, in my opinion, I feel like mages would be easier to hit the 100 CS mark, as solo kills tend to be a lot more difficult with ranged champions. Because if you're facing a melee champion, the melee champion just has to dive you and kill you. But you can farm for free if you're a range versus range. So, hopefully, we do get some spicy 1v1s, and we have an Alistar with Quinette. That's just an auto pick.
Oh yes, yeah.
But yeah. So, let's
hope for the best. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to be playing.
I'm hoping it's going to be creative. I'm expecting to see perhaps. Oh, okay. So we have a Zed picked on the red side. Okay, perfect. Now, what is blue side going to pick?
That's going to be a tough one. I hate playing against Zeds.
I think that a really good counter to Zed, unironically, is probably Alistar.
Alistar.
Because when he ults under tower, if he has to dive you because he can't contest CS, you can just queue the floor and then permanent. Oh, we have a double
assassins.
Double assassin matchup. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So the Zed should go Guardian's Blade, and I believe Akali should go Guardian's Orb.
Okay.
I feel like that's the most ideal. Zed could go Hammer for lifesteal off the wave, but with this matchup, I don't feel like Zed should go to 100 CS. That's just kind of diminishing returns. Assuming they both go Flash Ignite, I do think that the Zed Ignite will be a little bit more useful because it can reveal Akali in Akali Shroud, and Zed doesn't have any targeted spells. So he can deal AoE damage in Shroud. So that's the advantage Zed has. Akali, however, very evasive. If she dodges the triple shuriken at level 6, assuming it gets to there, it's going to be extremely hard for the Zed to ever win these 1v1s. I feel like it's going to be really tough. But who do you think is going to win?
Honestly, I have no idea. It's more like a very skill-based matchup.
Of course.
I do think that these both champions are pretty similar in how they operate, and it'll just be a matter of who misplays first.
Yeah, the issue is that Akali E and ZW are their committal spells, and they kind of just poke with Q, and because they're both energy champions, they never really run out of mana. So if they're going to have to use the little healing shrines, the only reason they'd have to use them is if, for example, they run out of health. So health is the only resource this game that's going to fluctuate over time, which means the Guardian's Orb is going to have a little bit of a regen advantage, but we'll see what they get first.
I see.
I do strongly believe that Zed is more favored in this matchup, but perhaps that's just my bias of AD champs spiking earlier than AP champs, because
Alright.
Akali's base damage is nice, but the ratios are much better. That's usually where she is.
Minions have spawned.
Okay, so whew,
Hoping...
you might have to wiggle a bit, or
Oh,
else I
yes.
think you'll get an AFK warning.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so currently waiting behind the wave. Okay, so no bush cheesing. The Zed wanted to get a bush cheese out, but I guess the Akali wanted to fix the Spotify playlist.
Right? I gotta have the perfect music for...
Gotta put on those montage music. Okay, so ZW is used. That is a 20-second cooldown. Gets a poke out with the Q. Can Akali punish this? Oh, no, Zed's walking back. Is he walking out of XP range? Ooh, he might have not gotten the XP for that minion, that caster. But overall, they're both farming quite okay.
These are their items.
They've only missed they've missed the same amount of minions each. Zed using a double shuriken combo, missing completely to the left, assuming that Akali would dodge into the brush to, I guess, dodge vision as well. Now Akali is using Shroud proactively to try to get some more energy, and they're both just chucking spells. Akali now has the push because she has used Q to poke Zed in the wave, while Zed is using his Qs out of the wave. And now Zed has no spells for the next 5 seconds to all in. And Akali doesn't have the energy for another Q, so it's kind of a permanent stalemate right now. Nothing's really going on. Akali's farming with Q, Zed is just trading with abilities on repeat. Akali misses cannon, did she? I think she did.
I think she did.
But we do see that she didn't go for the Guardian's Orb. She went for Hextech Alternator, which is very interesting. She also went for the Conqueror page, not the Electrocute page. So these trades are going to be much more, I guess, complex and much more combo-based, because Conqueror, of course, has backloaded scaling, while Electrocute's much more front-loaded. So we can expect a lot more long-winded fights, because these health bars are quite consistent.
She gets the first heal. That's gonna definitely mean something later on, I feel.
Well, the thing about the healing shrines is that they kind of heal based on missing health, so the higher your HP bar is, the less effective it is to use them. But a health advantage is a health advantage still, nonetheless, I do agree. But especially against Zed, you're kind of going to get poked out a little bit anyway, so if it was a matchup like Olaf, then all the health you can get is better, because when Olaf runs on you, you know he's not leaving.
Exactly. Alright, let's see. Okay, the wave's kind of pushing back and forth here. Hopefully she can get that cannon. Oh,
and she misses it. Oi, oi, oi. Yes. Okay. And because she queued the casters, the tower dealing modified damage in ARAM is still going to one-shot them. Oh, and she misses all the casters now for sure, because she damaged them below 65% HP. I believe that's the health cutoff for caster minions, to be one-shotted by Nexus towers.
I think so.
Yeah. If they're below 3/4 HP, they kind of just get one-shotted and you bleed the CS out. And we see the benefits of Electrocute there on the Zed's portion.
My god.
Even though Zed is a level down, because of that front-loaded trading, we now have the trading advantage on the Zed. Now, Akali is going to be looking to position and get an Hextech Alternator proc. Okay. Still walking up. Okay, Zed uses Shroud, misses double Shuriken. I think Akali tries to do a predict Q there. Now they're both holding their ultimates. Now we got to think about why. So Zed has Electrocute, so I'm assuming he's just going to try to proc it on repeat, and then once she's low enough, he's going to all in. However,
okay.
Akali knows that she has to ult reactively. So she's waiting for Zed to ult, so she can ult forward and then use the recast of Shuriken. So this is a very much of a stale... Oh, another Canyon bled out.
It looks like it
from
might
the
be a
CS
very
difference.
dangerous position for Akali to ult, especially now that she's under tower. Oh, she goes for it.
Oh, she's all inning now. Okay, let's see if she can land it clean. Oh, okay. Yep, looks like Zed wins this.
Oh. She
and
survived.
the Electrocute procs, but both do not find lethal. They're both available to still trade in skirmish, but in my opinion, in my quite humble opinion, I do think Electrocute will win out these shorter skirmishes, meaning the lower HP you are, the better the percentage burst of Electrocute will be. I'm assuming that Zed also took coup de grace, so now his damage is going to be increased by up to 8%. Yes, we see the precision second, we can assume that he probably took coup de grace. And if he took a last stand, he's still dealing more damage because he's low as well. Akali using Shroud to try and wave clear, though it's very hard for her to answer the push now that he has a maxed Q, which means his cooldown is going to be significantly lower. Not sure if it... Oh, okay. And...
Okay, that looks like
Oh!
she's in very
Ignites for the
disadvantaged.
electrocute proc, but he does not find lethal.
She still
The
has
Zed cannot
one
find
shrine,
lethal.
though?
And the Shrine heals more when she's lower health, so that entire combo technically did nothing. But now Zed can use both that one and the one behind his tower, I think.
Looks like a
Okay,
very
hopefully Akali
disadvantaged
knows
game
not
for
to queue the
Akali.
minions. Oh, she queues the casters again. She's going to start bleeding these CS numbers. Looks like it's going to have to be to first solo kill because these CS numbers are going up very slowly because both are contesting the wave. But we see Zed with the health advantage, and of course it's going to be much more opportunistic for Akali to make the first play because she does have the health disadvantage. Though she can get away with using her Shroud now that Zed doesn't have Ignite, so she can't be revealed, and she uses it proactively once again. I do believe that if she waits to use E on the cannon... Oh, she's bleeding CS. I think the Zed has accredited such a strong attrition in the matchup that it's very hard for them to actually trade. Because Zed
Yes.
can now just sit here. And because Akali didn't go Guardian's Orb, she doesn't have the health regen to really contest the 1v1. So she's going to have to trade off of that Hextake Alternator timing, but she can't because her Q range is a little bit shorter than Zed Q. So she's always going to be spaced and outranged, and it's going to be very hard for her to trade if she's using Shroud aggressively. Like this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now that she used Shroud aggressively, Zed knows that she can't really hide herself from spells, so he's going to trade with Q and an E into yes. That is probably how the Zed should play this. So very predictable. Shroud into QE. Usually the Akali misses, and then Zed trades with Shadow Clone into EQ. Now, what I will say is that Zed does lack base damages with levels towards the late game. So
I see.
you can see Zed's now playing much more aggressively. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Does he win? Oh, and does Zed get the auto attack? And Zed gets the auto, but doesn't die.
Oh,
This
so
is a close match.
That is so close.
And Akali has a healing shrine? Okay, now Akali has the health advantage because Zed took a tower shot. I believe he took a tower shot.
Healing shrines, so he could definitely.
Now the Zed, now using Shroud aggressively here and flashing into the E, and the Akali gets the win.
Oh my god!
That is insane. I did not expect that. My money was on the Zed. I truly thought the Zed would win.
If Zed had gotten the 2 healing shrouds, he might have had a chance of winning that.
That is true. And if we also look at the summoner timings, Zed also has the Ignite timer advantage since he used it before Akali did. So it should be up within the next 10 to 20 seconds. So if he was patient and he waited a little bit and used that health pot that's still in his inventory, he'd be able to do something.
That was a wonderful fight on the parts of both participants. And thank you so much for participating. On to our next participants in the tournament. I will have a short break as I switch tabs here. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Thanks, everyone.
All right, see you guys later. All right, so we're back with match 2. We have Set Love versus Queen Alice. I'm pretty sure we can tell who Set Love is gonna go. Um, if not, okay, so she's asking for a set ban. The issue I feel like that we have with this setup is that Quinette is first pick,
Oh, yes.
so she does
Oh,
block
okay.
the bans. So I think for next time, what you should do is that you should swap teams so that they get pick priority.
Ah, okay. That's very smart.
So that's how we fix that. You want to join the other team. So ban set for them because I think we have to do ban requests now. So we're now both casters and banners. So we're gonna have to search up that set. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
Lovely, lovely. Okay.
I mean, the name Set Love is very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Very obvious ban.
Okay, so I can see what Queen Alice is thinking right now. My suggestion. So yes, Olaf is a good ban. Ban a lot of other juggernauts. So if they can hear me right now, as you can see, Volibear is right there. Ban juggernauts because set players can apply fundamentals and limit testing from other champions with missing percentage HP bonus damage, like Volibear or Darius or I don't know, Garen.
Okay.
So think yes. So Alice, I want you to think and pick another juggernaut. Pick a beefy champion that you think they'd be able to apply the same fundamentals from set to another. So Mordekaiser is what I like to consider AP set. You might want to prepare the search bar, Quinette. This is going to be quite a late type in the chat. Pantheon, search at Pantheon. Or you.
Okay. That was my pick. That was my pick. Sorry.
Yes. My bad. My bad. I forgot it was tournament draft. So you ban 3, then ban 2. Okay.
Okay, we'll be banning Pantheon.
Cassiopeia. So Pantheon should have been the third ban, but if we forgot the first ban. So what we'll do next time is that we'll swap teams, so the player on Quinette's team can pick.
Yes.
Double mage matchup with Snowball Cleanse. I really hope that that's going to change. And if it doesn't change, I'm wondering what the hell they played last game. Okay. What requires Snowball Cleanse? That's a very interesting summoner spell setup. So we got the clarity on the Zig. So this means he can do one of two things. One, not run Lost Chapter, because the Ziggs will be able to use the clarity on rotation to refund his or, well, I'll just say his in reference to the pronoun of the champion, to refund his mana bar.
I see.
And another thing that I see him doing is that Ziggs could also get the Sorcerer Shoes. So he can now outrun Cassiopeia because Cassiopeia, as a passive, cannot buy boots. So she's going to be forced into an awkward itemization spike. She's going to go for maybe Guardian's Orb and an Amp Tome, which is like 1385. That's under 1400 gold. Or she's just going to go for maybe a Lost Chapter and a refillable because that's all she can go. Or maybe, I don't know, Lost Chapter 5 pots. She's going to have to sit on something awkward. Or she could just go Catalyst of Eons and have no AP, but at least have mana and health sustain. So we'll see what the first item of these two champions will be. But if I do want to say something about the matchup, Ziggs does outrange Cassiopeia. And I do believe that Ziggs Bomb still goes off in Cassiopeia W. That's an interaction that I'd be really interested to look at. But I can see that both of them go precision and sorcery, so I can assume that both took Manifold Band and Presence of Mind, so no one's going to run out of mana here, but we also see the Cassiopeia opting for the more aggressive summoner spell choice, being Ignite. So we're going to see if the Ziggs is going to be able to commit to that spacing, that War of Attrition, that range advantage of roughly, I think, 300 units from his Q compared to Cassiopeia Q, and we're going to see if Cassiopeia can do the strategy of perhaps, sorry for spoiling if both players are listening, but perhaps Cassiopeia could, I don't know, maybe sit in the casters. So the first bounce of the Ziggs bomb will hit the melee minions, and then therefore will make Cassiopeia invulnerable to poke. But of course, once level 2-3 hits, Ziggs can start throwing, bouncing bombs outside the wave, and then his bomb field, which is his E, and the, forget what his W is called, but it's like a C4 that is a knockback. He can start tossing that in the wave to knock Cassiopeia out the wave and then poke him with the Q. So Ziggs definitely has the range advantage here, which means he can be much more proactive with the trading. Cassiopeia, however, has a much more all-in threat. Again, I consider Mordekaiser to be AP set. I'm surprised this person didn't pick AP set. Because I do think that Mordekaiser into Ziggs is very strong, as once you put enough points in Mordekaiser E, Ziggs literally cannot fight you because his satchel charge, that's the W name, his satchel charge will be on a longer cooldown than Mord pull. If Mord can identify that he needs to build a little bit more ability haste. But yeah, of course, Ziggs I heard is also giga nerfed in this game mode, like 80% damage less, or
80?
80% damage dealt and 120% damage taken. Ability haste minus 20, so you start off with negative 20 ability haste.
I
While
see.
Cassiopeia, I'm not sure about Cassiopeia, but
I think
Ziggs gets those
Cassiopeia
nerfs.
might have the advantage in this game
Uh,
mode personally because uh, I think her wave clear and her ability to have a large AoE, like completely denying access to part of the map during their trades, will become a very huge deal breaker
mhm.
in this matchup. I mean, given that
Well,
Ziggs does
yeah.
have his own, it's pretty mirrored when you think about both champs' abilities. So I'm kind
That's
of
true.
curious to see how this will turn out.
My main this is a unique complaint, but my problem is that if the Ziggs plays like enough of a psycho, he might actually get first tower instead of 100 CS.
That is true.
So if this guy is a complete psychopath, he might just like hit abilities on rotation and then auto attack the tower to proc his passive because his auto attacks like periodically after he lands abilities or after a 12 to 6 second cooldown scaling with level, his next auto attack will do more magic damage, and that AP scaling is 125% AP against towers and 50% against champions. So I can definitely see some kind of a cheese strategy, maybe by getting tower aggro or something and then recycling it with satchel charge or something funky like that. But in order of who gets pushed, I do think you're right, Quinette. I do think Ziggs with the range advantage, we're already starting to see the advantages of that big AoE burst
Yeah,
on the back line. And
it's gonna be
however,
very tough.
yep. Oh, okay, we see the spacing in and out. So they're trading Qs right now. But, oh, wow. We see a very interesting start with the Cassiopeia. So here's what she did. She knows that she can't start with a Lost Chapter, because Lost Chapter plus refillable potion is going to be, 150 gold remaining. And if you get boots, that's the 300 gold remaining outside of the 1400 gold you get to start with. But because she can't get boots, she has to itemize a little bit differently. So what does she need? She needs AP, mana sustain, and health sustain. So instead of going for Sapphire Crystal into 2 amp tomes and a refillable, she decides to go for a different kind of setup, which extends the laning phase much longer because you got a mana pool of the Tear of the Goddess combined with the burst AP, 40 AP from Blasting Wand, which is really going to help you be able to consistently have this all-in pressure like we're about to see right now. We see that she just hits level 6, misses the ultimate, and the satchel charge is used outside of the grounded zone just so Ziggs can disengage. This is the exact kind of interaction I was talking about in Champ Select when Cassiopeia grounds you, you can't dash, but Satchel Charge isn't a self-targeted dash. It is actually an external knockback. So it's going to be very hard for her to extend these trades, specifically Cassiopeia. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the lane so far, as we see Ziggs use Clarity?
I think that we're seeing Cassie going in with full confidence and really laying the pressure on to Ziggs. But I do think that if Ziggs is consistently put on the defensive like this, it will end up being it might end up being a Cassiopeia win just because of how she might be able to whittle down his HP as we are seeing. And she does have the advantage of the heal potion, and I think that she's saving that one for when it really counts. So I think like this itemization is showing that she does plan on playing extremely aggressively and going into a full like blitzkrieg kind of 1v1 near the end where all that matters
Yes.
is just that one sliver of HP that will let her survive the trade. So that's personally what I think will occur.
Okay.
But you know.
Well, yes. I see where you're coming from. And, okay. On the cap of German tactics and German strategy, we can see that he's ulting for wave clear, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I do overall agree that oh, the flash. Oh, the spacing on the ult and the satchel charge. Can she all in? And he lives. Okay, so that's flash down for the next 3 minutes. Of course, everyone has, I believe it's 75 summoner spell ability haste in ARM. So your flash cooldown is about 160
Lord.
seconds, not the classic 5 minutes. So the uptime on her flash will be up around 8 minutes. So this is the amount of time that Ziggs can use his flash to aggressively counterplay. And oh my god, right before the heal tick comes in, Ziggs
No.
can collect that kill despite being giga nerfed in this game mode.
That was so
Um,
close.
Really proud of
GG.
Queen Alice for that one. Very good wave
That was
management, very
very,
good
very
spacing,
clean. Yes.
and very good defensive playstyle. Very, very good defensive playstyle. I really, really, really admire that defensive playstyle. Anyways,
Must have been very,
um,
very tricky, especially with Cassiopeia going in very aggressively from almost the get-go as well. I honestly thought that Ziggs would have been at a disadvantage this game. Well, thanks to both for participating, and we'll be
yeah,
on
that
to
was a
our
surprise one.
yeah,
So
that was a very
I am now 0 for 2. I voted for Zed in the first one and Cass in the second one, and I am now down in both matches. So we'll take a quick break, and we will come back with the next matchup. Hopefully, it's just as mentally stimulating.
we'll be back soon. Thanks everyone. All right, we're back again with our next group of participants.
That's right. So, we had a little bit of an intermission there. We finally got the bans fixed, so now that both players can ban, we don't have to send requests. And unfortunately for the first two, one of them actually got 0 bans, so that's our bad.
Yeah,
However, everyone will now for sure get a fair playing field, 3 bans and 3 bans, and then pick and pick.
a
But
Nico
yeah,
ban.
we're seeing a lot of AP champions banned and AP champions picked. So far, the ratio of AP to AD right now is 3-1. And I'm not sure if this is because they tend to be more ability reliant. Perhaps auto attack trading is not really preferred by these players. But I find that a lot of them like using abilities more than auto attacks, especially the Cassiopeia. She always used E, which is something I noticed.
I'm kind of
So
curious about
yep.
the Nico ban. Would she be that big of a problem in Howling Abyss
Well,
tournaments?
they nerfed her base damage after her rework, but allowed her to transform into things around the map. So in ARAM, there really isn't that much to transform into, and honestly, in ARAM, there's such less things going on that you just count the minions every wave anyway, so you're probably going to be able to recognize whether or not it's Nico based on how many minions arrive in the wave. So
That's true.
it's a little bit, but I can understand where the blooming bursts can be a problem because they do get really high in base damage. Aurelia, okay. We are having very high APM champions being banned on the right side.
Yeah, that would
Akali,
be a
we saw.
very difficult champ to play against, especially with her base healing.
I mean, you start with a Cull Vamp Scepter, it is easy 100 CS. Another Ziggs, okay.
Alright.
And this time we see Squishy Mac go and Ignite, which is quite interesting because we saw the Clarity come in clutch a couple times in the match before, so we're going to see how this one plays differently. Maybe they might play a Dark Harvest setup or an Electrocute Zig setup.
They might
and then
change their
itemize
based on the what the enemy picks. Bard.
Well, we will see.
Oh.
Bard. So
Morgana.
It's a Morgana. It's a Morgana.
This could be very, very dangerous. Pick.
Okay.
All right. Let's see how this plays out. This could be an interesting.
This
matchup.
is gonna be very awkward because if Ziggs hits, if this is a very interesting matchup because if Ziggs lands a satchel charge on Morgana and she black shields herself, she not only blocks damage, but she also blocks the CC. So what Ziggs can do here is that if he throws the satchel charge, holds on to the recast, of course, because you know how satchel charge is an instant, as we saw last game. You can hold on to it. So if he can wait until Morgana black shields and then proc the black shield with her Q, because you can break it with magic damage, then surely the base damage of your Q can break the Morgana shield and the satchel charge can land anyway. But by then, I'm assuming Morgana would have enough time to walk to the latter end, making the knockback less effective. So we'll see how that interaction works. We saw the Miasma interaction with satchel charge, being able to save the Ziggs twice and even defend against a flash ult from the Cassiopeia. But the Morgana is a much more careful, a much more defensive matchup. Doesn't have to all in. And don't forget Morgana's passive. She also heals 18% of damage dealt to champions and cannon minions. So in the war of attrition over time, with the Clarity, with the Dark Harvest proccing on repeat, she might be able to get this advantage just by standing still and Wing the wave, queuing the Ziggs, and trying her best to black shield as much magic damage and crowd control as she possibly can. But in my opinion, I do think Ziggs get shoved, so...
It does seem like the Morgana is a very dangerous champ to play against. She seems very simple, but if you're a very patient player, you could easily get a key advantage that could turn the game around.
Welcome to Howling Abyss.
To be honest, though, I do believe that there are a couple things that we aren't considering here, because the root on Morgana, combined with the fact that she can layer it with a stun with her ultimate, if Ziggs doesn't have satchel charge and Morgana ults in, she gains 5, 20, and then 50% move speed at rank 3 on that ultimate towards Ziggs, and I don't think Ziggs can run away. I don't think the E-slow will be strong enough to cut off without flash. So we're going to see how this goes out, but my money right now, I think, is on the Ziggs, because Black Shield isn't going to be... It's going to be good in the first few levels, but once Ziggs has enough points in Q and have the base damage to break through it, we're going to see Black Shield's effectiveness slowly dwindle down in threat level.
I also agree, especially with the Ignite and Comet picks. I feel like this will definitely be a highly advantageous game. I'm not calling out Morgana yet, though, because she does have the more defensive itemization, so it might be that she might be aiming for the minion counts, I think. I think that would probably be her best bet.
Yeah, well, she went Dark Harvest, and as you see here, Ziggs gets shoved because, of course, at level 3, of course, Ziggs has 3 damaging spells. He has Satchel Charge, that Bomb Field ability with his E, and Bouncing Bomb, which is his Q, all of which are AoE, all of which have some level of soft, hard, or kind of damage control, crowd control kind of esque, while Morgana has dedicated crowd control in the Q, dedicated AoE damage in the W, and dedicated defensiveness, defensive utility in the E, while Ziggs has AoE damage on all of his spells, CC on a majority of his spells, like his Q and his E, while Morgana only has her Q. So,
but then
of course,
there's also the spacing advantage that Morgana has because of her Q's long range. She can easily sidestep most of Ziggs' damage abilities just because of how much she outranges him in most of her abilities.
Yeah, that is true. And especially in the later stages of the game, specifically level 13, where she gets max points in Q and max points in W, okay, that's the Satchel Charge interaction. So if she black shielded the Satchel Charge, she wouldn't have moved back. But to be fair, after missing your Q and your W on the Ziggs, would you really want that Satchel Charge to be absorbed by your black shield? Because then you'd be just auto attack down the lane, and I think that it's much better. And now we already see the mana advantage that she's using it to block poke, which is a very interesting setup. I think that using the black shield to block poke when Satchel Charge is down is the way to use black shield, especially since she has a mana advantage. Fuck yeah, just use your spells as much as you can, sidestep what you can, and just you see the Ziggs is now hungry for the mana. He wants to get that health pot, but he knows he wants to get the health shrine, but he knows that he can't. Another Q goes wide, but the W hits, and very minimal damage coming out of their early Ws, as the base damage tends to scale with missing health, up to about 170%, I suppose, which is where the synergy with Dark Harvest comes in. But hey, I don't know. I'm a support main that goes by Nautilus, Taric, and Rakan, so I have no clue about Morgana. In fact, Morgana is one of my worst matchups on Nautilus. That's who I usually ban. Or Janna, but either or. In the later stages...
it looks like if Morgana can keep baiting out those abilities from Ziggs and he runs low on mana, then she just has free range to go in and attack him whenever she wants.
True, but we also need to account for CS, because I feel like the tower is taking a lot from Morgana. Yes, 7 CS lead for the Ziggs so far. So I do think that Ziggs has the advantage here, but I think Morgana can eventually outperform him. And I forgot who I bet on winning.
I think you bet on the Ziggs.
I think I bet on the Ziggs. Yeah, I think I did, because his AoE spells are more reliable. But who knows? Maybe level 18 Morgana is a different human being, because her base damage, I heard, spikes really hard on 4 points W.
Then she'll have the max level Q, and that will definitely be a great advantage to her.
Well, unfortunately, because we can't do the Blitzcrank Shuffle, we're getting a bunch of AFK warnings, and the Morgana Q will also give Ziggs an AFK warning. So we're gonna have to just wait until that's gonna happen, and then hopefully she'll land a good enough route just like that, and
beautiful.
2 more of those, and I think Ziggs automatically DCs. Notorious for having such a long CC timer extended with the ultimate, if she can buy enough time and get maybe 2 spell rotations out before Ziggs can use his ultimate, or before Ziggs's abilities land enough to provide lethal, she definitely can heal up with the 18% Omnivamp that she gains on her spells. A little bit of a delayed Black Shield there. That is now a window that Ziggs can punish. That's roughly a 10 to 15 second window that he now has. He's going to throw a Bouncing Bomb. Does hit her with the Scorch. I believe he does have Scorch. And the Comet. But you can see the mana and health differences being inverted. We have Ziggs with high health, low mana, and Morgana with the lower health, but not necessarily low health, but the way higher mana pool.
Looks like the Ziggs move speed with the boots. I was questioning the boots buy initially, but it looks like it's very much to his advantage because he can easily sidestep those abilities that Morgana's throwing. But it looks like in a battle of attrition, Morgana might have the advantage here, especially with
And she
Mana?
can definitely contest the shove later on.
Yes.
Because with enough points in her W, she'll be able to trim the wave much more reliably, and under tower, she'll also be able to farm more consistently. So the thing about the Akali player, who I believe the name was Pink Octopus. So Pink Octopus, the Akali player, and dedicated, what is that? Dedicated Wham?
I think so.
Or Devis? Yeah, anyways, the Morgana player, we'll just say that because I don't want to butcher the name. The Morgana player and the Akali player tend to use their AoE spells to accept the shove, but has a little bit of an issue farming under tower. So if they are listening, my recommendation is to try and use the W outside of the healing shrine. Once it passes the healing shrine, like Wing right there is fine because you can trim the wave before it hits the tower, but she is leeching a little bit of CS under tower. Yeah, she's now at a 10 CS deficit. Which she can catch up to a 7 if she gets all the casters, but she used W, so she can't. We see the Ziggs E is now being used a lot, and the Mana Flow Band from Ziggs has now been fully completed with the Morgana's Mana Flow Band as well, so now they kind of can match the mana pool of each other. Added with the fact that Lost Chapter regenerates a fifth of your mana pool over 3 seconds with each level up, that's definitely coming in to save Ziggs. Now, I'm not really a fan of being a nerd of wave states in ARAM, but I feel like this could be a freeze angle for Morgana. Nope, Ziggs does too much damage. He
shoves the
Ziggs
waves
can trim the
very
wave.
aggressively. I think that that's definitely just gonna be how it is, especially against Ziggs, because his ability to just deal way too much damage for any sort of management to occur. Like, regardless, I feel like
Of course.
he's just gonna shove it in and play extremely aggressive. I
But
like to
really
call him a
well
little
played to the
gremlin.
patience of both players. The both players are playing extremely patiently. And even though they're tossing skill shots wide and center, they're not really landing a lot. It's the mental edge of Ziggs always tossing in the wave, and when he tosses it out the wave, Morgana walks up. So we do see very strong fundamentals of cooldown punishment and other things. Specifically with Morgana, being able like walking past the wave to contest the Ziggs, as we saw a couple times. Even if the root missed, understanding that cooldown punishment, both players could still win. They've both shown signs of mechanics. Like this, when she walks past the wave, when she knows that Ziggs has no cooldowns and Ziggs is forced to retreat. Moments like those do mean that in the 1v1, in an isolated, farm fest, Ziggs may cap out. But in an isolated 1v1 dueling, or isolated 1v1 fight to the death, I feel like Morgana does have the edge there, again, because of passive. And look how proactive she's moving. She knows where she wins, and she knows where she doesn't.
That was very...
Able to space him off the entire wave, knowing that the Satchel Charge cooldown is 5 seconds until completed, and he has no auto-attack passive prepared. So, routinely, when he uses abilities to shove the wave, Morgana can walk up and punish those cooldowns, and she continuously does that. So now that Satchel Charge is now up, she can now walk past the wave after this clear, and then hopefully try to exchange some spells again. Though I think Morgana does have to burn Ziggs' flash sooner or later. Satchel Charge is down, which means Morgana's all-in window is up for the next, I believe, 15 seconds. And okay, we see him endlessly shoving again. He now has 0 damage. We see the Lost Chapter coming in on the Morgana after hitting level 15. She regained roughly 20% of her mana pool. Now, tanking the wave is an interesting strategy, but she is still bleeding waves under tower.
I just think
Can
that
she
the
get cannon?
Ziggs pushing is just way too aggressive. And I think this
I feel like we might have to ban Ziggs next time, because this 11 CS deficit is coming back to bite the Morgana, and I really feel like if she doesn't burn his flash by the time he reaches level 16, she's really not going to be able to do much. See, she walks up, she misses Q and misses W, and he just doesn't have the ability to punish her, but she also has no spells left to punish him, so it's a permanent poke of attrition. And in the poke attrition
very much
level,
like a stalemate.
it's looking very much like a stalemate either. It's going to be first to 100 CS, I believe. But hey, I mean, the Morgana can turn it around. She hits level 16 soon, and For anyone that doesn't play Morgana, I'm sure a lot of us are support mains, so we probably do. But if for anyone who doesn't play Morgana, one break-off point is her ultimate rank 3, where she gets like 50 or 55% move speed towards enemy champions after she creates those infernal chains. So once she hits 16, oh, Zig's ult missed. So she can just flash ult him next. Oh, wow, big trade. And we see she's gained 50 HP from that trade, and the minions did 0 damage to her because of her healing from passive. So if she's able to land a root and a W on Ziggs, she can tank the entire wave with 0 health deficit. And in the timers that she was, positioning to punish the cooldowns, the more she did that, the more she actually was able to tank the wave. If she just throws a W on the floor, she gains 20 to 30 HP, which is like 6 to 7 caster autos.
Oh?
And she's going for the ult and doesn't match flash, but that is Zig's flash, and she does flash. Oh, flash for flash. Very interesting cooldown punishment there. So, I believe Zig's ultimate comes up right before Morgana's ultimate comes back up. I do think Zig's ult has a longer cooldown than Morgana ult.
So it might be exactly at the same time. I'll make for a very interesting play near the end where we see both trade ults.
True, but we are forgetting about the little detail that Ziggs has in his back pocket, which is the little fireball he has in his little pockets in his jeans, which is called the Ignite spell. That is going to come out and do a lot.
True, I completely forgot about that.
And now, because Morgana is spending so much time trying to zone him off the wave, she is now 20 CS down, while he was able to farm an entire wave with his ultimate. So she's now going to bleed 5 extra CS, which will increase the difference from 14 to 19. And it's going to be very hard for her to farm. I believe it's going to be to 100 CS if she has to do something lethal. What did I say?
Wow.
The Ziggs player might be funny enough to get the turret before 100 CS, and in fact, he did.
That was very beautiful gameplay, though. Thanks so much to both participants. I think the Ziggs was,
First tower was reached
with that one.
And if the game does go on to 100 CS, I believe that Ziggs still has the advantage, because with the push power he has, he'd be able to now have 3 healing shrines, because she wouldn't be able to contest the outer relic of red side. So the winner is the Ziggs by a very weird, unanimously decided tower destruction, which is...
That was a very cheeky play by the Ziggs.
Very cheeky play by the Ziggs. Shoving waves under tower, Morgana let the minions attack the tower, and then she ended up dying in the end. So... yeah, I guess that's match 3.
That's one for you.
That's 1 for me. I'm 1-2 now.
1-2. All right, on to our next one. We'll be taking a little bit of an intermission, and we will be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
All right, and we're back in match 5? Question mark. Match 4 was surrendered, so
yes.
yeah, we are in match 5. This is the 4th match we are streaming because match 4 was disconnected. Misfortune is our first ban, which is a very interesting pick. A lot of these bans are interesting. Lux not so interesting, but a lot of these bans are interesting. I find because I don't really see them working in ARAM, like Nico. Okay, I just find that they're really hard to pilot, and I don't really think. I still feel like Ziggs is such a better ban. You have the Ziggs ban, the Bard ban,
The
the
Ziggs ban is
Syndra
definitely
ban.
the most important one,
Yeah.
personally. He's a very dangerous, cheeky champion to play in this.
Like Gwen, like these all-in champions. If you can see the history of the game so far, like all-ins isn't really okay. Akali is a good ban, but we see that all-ins aren't necessarily respected, nor are they actually favored. Like they're very short, bursty trades, and they're spell trades. They're not auto trades. And usually the champion that gets pushed usually wins, right? With the exception of Zed, because you know that whole kerfuffle under tower. Kane.
I mean,
They
he's
can't
free.
recall. And then that is it. Oh my god.
No. The Ziggs pick comes in again.
And because they got first pick, they can pick Ziggs. Now, a counter to this champion, a really good counter to this champion, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, would be Galio. I think if you pick Galio here, even though you can't use your ultimate, it's going to be... The base damage is quite good. Tahm Kench.
Tahm Kench could work.
Very interesting. Now, remember, you can't go Guardian's Horn, so that's going to be very difficult for Tahm Kench.
Yes.
Because he doesn't really have any AD or AP scalings to reliably use. So he could go Guardian's Orb.
Just saving a reminder
even though
here? Yes, sorry.
He could go Guardian's Orb, but even so, that's going to be very tough for him, because he's going to have to rely on... Pardon my language. He's going to have to rely on licking and using tongue lash to heal.
That might be hard against Ziggs, especially when he's a very fast-moving champion.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to dodge the tongue action going on the left side of the field, but we'll see what goes on.
It'll be fun, you know. Let's see who can lick faster. Or maybe he'll be licking the dirt when he dies.
I don't know. Well, I assure you, with the tongue that you have on Mundo and the Splasher right now, I'm not sure if you would even be second place.
It's a very tonguey picks.
These are very tonguey picks, and we see Ziggs with the freaking bomber glasses with the 1980s yearbook smile. Like I don't know. Like, look at that smile. Who can say no to that maniacal little goofball? So while Ziggs is going to be tossing water balloons. Yeah, Ziggs also, Tahm Kench going Grasp here is very, very, very interesting, because he's not going to be in range to reliably proc it. I do understand that you would need Second Wind and Revitalize in this matchup, but what do you take in the tier 1 runes? Would you take Shield Bash? The auto isn't going to help, and the resistances you gain are negligible. Font of Life has no teammates to proc the healing off of, but Demolish. Is he going to try to use Demolish to out-turret damage the Ziggs auto? Now, the question is, even if he were to get Demolish, does he have the push with his tongue to get to that point?
Well, I guess we'll find.
I don't think he does.
Oh, well,
I don't think he can lick the wave faster than Ziggs can bomb it. Okay, unfortunately,
maybe his goal is not the wave, but Ziggs himself.
So then probably he's gonna opt for Shield Bash.
Definitely. I think that would be the smarter idea, just to absorb the damage and get in as much damage onto Ziggs as possible.
Fleet and Comet were so much better, though, because I feel like it just adds that extra, like I don't know, it's like if you took Scorch with Comet, it's like your saliva does poison damage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that would just be like, it would be so much better to have that like contesting of poke, and with the thick skin passive, you know, once you put enough points into it, you'll now absorb half the damage you take into gray health. And if you sit out of combat for about 4 to 5 seconds, you can rapidly regen it all back up, like Evelyn passive under that specific threshold. So yeah, it's again the Ziggs on Queen Alice running Clarity. Very interesting setup from the Tom Kench. Very predictable setup from the Ziggs, but we know that this is a foolproof plan and it's very consistent. It works.
Been working for the past 3 games.
It's been work. It has a 100% win rate so far.
This is a very smart pick. Maybe next time we ban Ziggs from the tournament.
Surely, Copium. Yeah, hopefully we ban Ziggs.
Okay. So...
Kappa. I don't know. I don't think anyone's gonna ban Ziggs. I think whoever's first pick is just gonna steal this.
I mean, how could you ban the champ? He has such a very toothy and charming smile.
I hate this champion in Summoner's Rift. I hate this champion in ARAM. I just he's like a he's like a pyromaniac of Teemo. It's like a Teemo that got a hold of like a chemistry textbook.
I mean, Teemo just does natural chemistry. He just uses nature's given poisons versus
yeah, okay. No one should ban the little furball smiley face. Okay.
Agree.
So I guess our audience has developed a very diplomatic immunity against the little explosive rat here.
No,
so as we see, Tom Kench is considering a bunch of items. Oh, did we see the tier start like we saw with the Cassiopeia? Very interesting. Now, is he going to go for a Bommies to push? He could also go for a null magic. Are we getting a Negatron cloak? We are getting an interesting. Okay, so the shield bash is definitely possible. But I'm still very intrigued at what he's running in the precision tree. As he sits there, licking his lips and walking very slowly forward with his fat belly bouncing on the ground. We see Ziggs, asserting that range dominance, diving in and out of the brush so that Tom Kench can't see him. Now, Pink Octopus, if they're smart, they're going to use their Tongue Lash to get wave priority in the early levels, just like that.
He can just eat all the damage, it looks like.
Well, fun thing about Tom Kench that people might not know, Tom Kench Q is a missing health heal, and it's a 4 to 6% missing health heal, scaling with rank, of course. 426.
Okay.
426. So yeah, so it's going to heal roughly, I'd say 70 to 100 HP at around level 9, which is roughly half of a Ziggs Q. But where I think this strategy is creative is in the E, the thick skin passive, scaling with level, of course, up to 47% damage absorbed. You're going to be able to resist a lot of the poke happening early. But the issue is that he's absorbing all the damage right now while his health bar is still low. So, of course, the effective health that the gray health can block is going to be tough. And we see already a third of his tower is chunked because it's melee versus ranged. Who knows? We might even get tower before 60 CS. As we see, the Tom Kench pick is able to use the tier effectively. Mana still looks quite healthy. Diving into the wave, an ult on the wave by Anna Clarity. This is... Okay, as we see here, we do have Ignite advantage on Tom Kench, but after level 11, once Ziggs gets that 1500 health, 1500 base health spike, it's going to be very hard for the Ignite to provide any help, because not only is there no heal cut usage from the Grievous Wounds, but a knockup is landed. Is there an all-in window? Auto? Into another auto? Why are you getting back? No!
The lack of vision in the bush is surely a scary endeavor.
Well, I mean...
anyone, especially against the Zig.
And the knockup... The Q was landed, so now we're starting to see the power of the Negatron Cloak. Eventually there will come a point where Tom Kench's base magic resist will tank so much damage that, I guess, the lack of magic penetration on Ziggs' side will eventually not be able to penetrate through the gray health, and it will fizz out. But we've seen Ziggs so many times that I kind of don't really know what to say about the matchup anymore. I feel like we all know what he does. So Tom Kench only has one Devour target this game. He can eat the Ziggs, but in case anyone else doesn't know, I'm going to keep displaying fun facts about the little demonic River King of Gluttony. He actually can cast his ult using his Q. So if you have 3 stacks on the enemy, like he will right now, auto, and if he lands another auto, he can use his Q and then press ult to spit out his tongue, smack him with saliva, and then reel them back with that River King tongue action combo.
I will say
and as
that
we
is
see
quite
here,
a disrespectful way to go.
it is, but hey, it still is viable nonetheless.
If it
So
works,
Tom
it
Kench
works,
does
I
have to all in
suppose.
the next wave, because in this wave, yeah, if that crashes under tower, all Ziggs needs to do is land one W. Oh, but we see him tanking aggro instead. Now
Oh?
does he have oh, and the satchel
Satchel
charge
goes
comes in.
off. Yes.
2 more minion waves until 1W can one-shot the tower. So this is the first wave, and that wave, yep, you see him ulting for wave clear, and now Tom Kench can't tank the wave, so now he's just going to W the tower and win, and Ziggs just gets the kill. And Ziggs
Oh?
now can one-shot it. But, bam, and Ziggs wins.
Unfortunate.
By unanimous victory. For some reason, the rat will not be banned. A little bit of a BM flash.
That was a lovely game. Thank you to Pink Octopus and Queen Alice. And we'll be taking another 5-minute intermission to get our next participants on. Alrighty.
And we're back to another episode of yes, okay, Quinette, this is what I've been waiting for. Ziggs has been banned. That fluffy furball, I am so tired of him. Now that he's banned, I can talk about how much I hate Ziggs.
Should
I
call him
swear
the
to God, this
devil of the
artillery
rift.
mage, this cringe-ass artillery mage, anti-tower, anti-interaction, fucking goofball. I can't stand him, okay? This guy has so much range, so much push, so much wave clear. How do you punish him? Hard crowd control. What champion can gank in a 1v1? No champion. The only champion that beats Ziggs is Zac, but no one's gonna pick Zac because guess what? Satchel Charge counters the blob bounce. So I guess you just pick disengage into disengage. Anyways, now that my little rant is over, we have another suspicious Nico ban. I really don't know why people ban Nico. Is she really that strong?
I mean, I think maybe her clone is a little bit of a problem.
Frustrating?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna turn into? Like a cannon minion?
I mean, I think it's more of a problem if you're gonna use your ultimate, and that's a very important, expensive ability to use. You definitely want to hit that on the real Nico, not the clone. So I definitely understand the frustration with that.
I mean, you play Syndra, so you have a point and click ultimate. Me on Rakan, however, I can just drag my balls on their face in game and just they're charmed anyway. Like my cooldowns aren't wasted. So
yes,
if you have a single target ultimate, of course,
hitting that RN
Nico
is very painful. It's very painful.
Yeah, it is. But if you're like me, you play Rakan, you play Taric, your ults is more team reliant or multi-target, it doesn't matter. Ahri, okay. Now, this is a different kind of mage because Ahri does have the sustain of a champion like Olaf in lane because every wave that she clears and perfectly farms gives her stacks, similar to Alistar. And after she gains a set amount of stacks, I believe it's 9, because she's the 9-tailed fox.
Okay.
She's Darius. No way. Okay, we
goodness.
have a Giga Chad in the chat. We have another player who picked it. This is the second AD champion going Ghost Ignite. This Ahri is not good. This is going to end before level 6. And if it goes until level 6, then Ahri wins. Oh, he swapped for Flash. So now it's playable at 6. Okay.
Oh.
So what are your thoughts on the matchup? I will reserve my opinion until I hear yours. What are your thoughts on this?
I think the girl power overpowers all men, so Ahri is definitely
okay.
Like
Guys, I'll have you know this is a challenger top laner that I'm talking to, who definitely knows the Darius matchup.
I definitely know Darius. He has bleeding and pulling. That's all.
And that's it. Just apprehend and Noxian guillotine. That's all she knows, guys.
Exactly.
That's all she knows.
That's what it's called. My goodness. I think that Ahri Charm will be definitely more OP in this. So I'm cheering for the girls.
Noxian guillotine or Charm.
Charm is OP. Charm, obviously. Charm. I love how everyone is so happy for the Ziggs fan.
Can we get a hashtag hate the rat? I know that's Twitch, but like, what animal even is Ziggs? Like, he has to be a rat.
He has to be a rat. Hashtag hate the rat.
Hashtag hate the rat. Okay, anyways, the Darius matchup. Finally, a melee matchup. A melee versus range. So now we're going to have auto attacks weaving in between spells. So now Ahri, if she misses Charm, she'll now have to kite with autos and her W, which I believe is called Spirit Fire. Anyways, the decaying move speed that REW will give is going to really help with the Darius matchup because it does give her decaying move speed, so she can kite it. So if Darius does get wave control, you could argue that maxing W first on Ahri would be recommended, but the charm duration isn't really going to do much because, in case you guys didn't know, I'm going to be saying that catchphrase a lot, but surely most of you do play Ahri. However, the rework did change her ult. I don't play Ahri, but I did beforehand a little bit, and I noticed that her charm used to increase the damage of her other spells. They took that off, and they buffed the AP scalings of her spells instead of making it so that her charm just makes that target take more damage from Ahri specifically. So what this does is that this makes Ahri a much more mid-game champion instead of early-game champion because they nerfed her base numbers and her charm damage amplification. So Darius here is a lane bully who went for boots and iron spike whip. and I'm assuming he also went Unflinching and Legend Tenacity, so I think that you should honestly max Charm last. Now, I'm not sure what Ahri mains do. I don't play mid, nor do I play Ahri, but I think it's Q max into E. My challenger top laner here surely doesn't play Syndra, so doesn't know the Ahri matchup.
Pretty sure. Well, I'm kind
but
of curious
anyways.
about this. Like, in this matchup, I do know that Ari does have the passive healing on her abilities, and it looks like Darius doesn't really have anything on him that will regen for him.
Alright.
So he might be taking a lot more permanent damage than Ari is. So I think that this is definitely an Ari win, in my personal opinion. My personal humble opinion.
So you vote for the human fox succubus, while I will go for my homie, the racist Beyblade, Darius. I prefer the champion in this matchup, honestly. If I were playing Ahri or Darius, I would much prefer Darius, because once you get that flash for flash cooldown, you can opt for the Cosmic Insight or go for Resolve Secondary, Second Wind Unflinching, of course, being very helpful against the Charm. And Ahri is practically going to have to use at least 2 charges of ultimate when you Ghost, because your E apprehension range is quite long, contrary to popular belief. It's actually quite long for a melee champion, being able to outspace things like Aurelia W, Gnar E, and it can cancel things like Gnar E and Tristana Jump. So if Ahri is mid-dash and he casts an apprehension mid-dash, he can cancel one of her charges, forcing her to expend an extra one and then another one to... Oh, there's the Ghost, there's the Flash, there's the 6 Spike, the apprehension. She's going to ult, and she flashes instead to save the ult for more aggressive timings. But Darius will be able to survive both suns down on both champions, and he will have to be forced to heal. Now, I do think that Ahri does have the advantage here, because Darius can't actually use his Q to heal off of the cannon. It's only on epic monsters. So, unfortunately, Mr. Man, there's no Krugs or Blue Buff or Baron that you can use your Q on to heal you, but over time, Ahri will be able to get the health advantage by clearing wave after wave. Again, those 9 stacks will continue to proc and continue to heal her. And eventually, it's going to come to the point where Darius is going to be forced to pick up these healing potions and these healing shrines and resist being poked under tower. Try not to be chunked by charm. That charm hit me. I'm falling in love. But yeah, so this Darius has to stop getting chunked by those Qs and the Scorch damage, if there is any Scorch damage, because he wants to have that health advantage for the next time he has his summoners. Darius is playing for Ghost and for Flash, while the Ahri is playing for both her defensive Flash and for Push. So if you're looking at what the objectives of both these champions want in the matchup, Darius and Ahri right now, technically speaking, are at a stalemate. It's very hard to punish the cooldowns of both champions, as if Darius uses E incorrectly, Ahri doesn't really have a kit that can reliably punish or poke down the Darius other than her W. Everything else is either a skill shot or really slow or really telegraphed, or has to be used to wave clear, as we just saw the Q fly in. So the Darius is going to have to be forced to CS under tower. Surprisingly, he is keeping up the CS in the range matchup. But as the Ahri gets more points in Q, Darius will be able... Oh, missing pull and getting 200 HP chunked by the Q. Of course, magic damage on the way out, and then true damage on the way back. So eventually Darius will have a health pool that will negate all of Ahri's damage, but the problem is that if you're level 18 Darius facing a Ahri, her damage is piss poor compared to your health. But then you have another problem. You're a level 18 Darius. How did you let it go that far? Brother, you should have ended it at level 9. Right now is where you're peaking, where you max out that Q, you max out that AD scaling. You have the 140% AD bonus damage off of your hemorrhage proc when you finish everything. It's just so much AD scalings on this champion. The I don't even know what its ult AD scaling is, but it's probably boosted up there. Oh, and she goes for the all-in. She gets the hook. The ignite. The auto attack, can he buffer the ult, complete damage, and Darius... Oh, he buffers it just in case she flashes, and Darius wins. That is my boy, that is my man right there.
That is insane. I wish I could play that back just to see exactly what occurred.
That is my man, going for the ignite and the ghost. That is insane.
Iron Spike as well? My gosh, that was a very beautiful play in both parts. I really thought it was gonna go to Ahri in that matchup, but alright.
Well, I didn't think it was beautiful. I thought it was messy as fuck, but it was clean nonetheless. That was definitely not a clean fight. That was very, very messy.
There's beauty in madness, I see.
Well, Quinette and I prefer to disagree, and that's perfectly okay, because I believe that my racist Beyblade does come out to be victorious. So, GG, well played to both players, and hopefully this Darius can take another win in the finals, and we'll see you guys then. I think it's the finals. Is it the finals?
Yes, we're on to the finals, so we'll be back in
Okay, so
another
we'll have a
5
brief
minutes.
intermission,
Yes.
starting with Quinette announcing it, and then we will be right back.
All right. See you all later.
All right, we're in for losers bracket finals. I will hold my positivity and optimism aside until Ziggs is banned, and if it's not banned, then I guess I'll be like this for the rest of the match.
We will be crying if Ziggs is not banned.
Yes, as a collective. She has
Well,
the tissues, I have the pillows, and the cookies.
the devil of the rift, the little terrorist, just destroying everything in his way is just too much.
Yeah, the I don't know.
I don't like
Like
that
I
he can
remember,
just get away with anything and everything.
it's also kind of giving me flashbacks back to when I was in middle school. After Osama passed, and they all said sorry for your loss, because of course I'm a person of color, right? So, seeing those tower explosions, specifically 2 tower explosions from Ziggs, definitely brought back some bad memories. But anyways, on to the bans. Lux, Ari, and Misfortune
There's a lot of
are on.
ADCs getting banned when I think about it, like Misfortune, Caitlyn. They're pretty tough to fight against, to be fair.
I don't know. I'm kind of just bored of just seeing. I love that. Yes, okay. I am now optimistic. We are now online, boys and girls, mostly girls, but okay. Anyways, we are going to be trying our best to make this a matchup for third that is going to be a finals matchup. We want a matchup that is going to have a lot of angst, a lot of, we can have advanced level attrition with like healing, shielding, and poke champions like Seraphine, or we could probably have the attrition of a range champion that has, I guess, combo burst like Caitlyn. And okay, we get the okay Armadillo ban as well.
Oh,
And we got the Nico. What?
Okay.
Nico went through ban phase and it was instantly picked. I guess I need to put my foot in my mouth. I don't know why this champion is.
You know, it would be really interesting right here if we get like an ADC pick right here for House
If Nico wins, I have to profusely apologize to everyone watching because I've been absolutely humiliating this champ. I've been saying it's not scary, it's not viable, it's not, and another Tom Kench option. That is crazy.
All right. I think that
And
Nico might lose to this.
What is Quinette gonna pick? Oh,
My man
okay.
Olaf. Yes. I feel like he really embodies how I feel on the inside. Very masculine and powerful.
When you said my man Olaf, I thought you were going to say that that's the kind of man that you're attracted to, but then you said something that somehow topped the weirdness of that statement. But anyways, again,
just like me.
we got Quinette's internal Viking disorder. We also have a salivating like River King with insane tongue action, and then we got a chameleon that really likes flowers. We're gonna see how and who wins in the next few minutes. My prediction. So I guess I'm 3-2 now because Darius beat Ari. Haha. Tom Kench, I think, is what I'm gonna bet on right now. I know Nico probably is better into Tom Kench because she can interrupt his abyssal dive with her root. But again, these players tend to stalemate. You guys tend to hold your spells for a very long time.
I'd say maybe like Tom Kench will show something more interesting. I think that if he this might actually be very tricky for Tom Kench because of Nico's clones.
I don't know. But here's the thing. Like, I really like these 1v1s for the abilities that are like being held. Like, I feel like the ability holding is what's making these last so long.
But
and
you would
it's
definitely want to save the most crucial abilities for when it truly matters, I think.
But if we remember the Darius, though, he was just tossing hooks willy-nilly. The moment Ari used W, hook. Instant hook. Guess who won that one?
Okay, well, Darius is a little bit different. He doesn't really have much to lose in the way of like cooldowns, I believe. Just great.
Okay.
I mean,
sure, yeah, whatever. All right.
I mean, it's true, but we'll see how this one turns out. Personally, I'm putting my money on TomTom because TomTom's so adorable. So I hope TomTom wins.
We all know you dislike elongated tongues. Anyways, we're gonna go and try to see what I really want a bush cheese. I don't know about you, but I really want a bush cheese.
Me too. I feel like
want a
a
bush
Tom
cheese
Kench on bush would be so very funny.
I really want a bush cheese.
A
Please
surprise
be a bush
attack
cheese.
would be really, really funny here.
Yep. If he could land an abyssal dive out of vision, that has a really high chance of landing. Oh, opens with a Q. Interesting. Tanks the root and then W. See, the ability holding is so interesting here because once the Nico uses E, Pink Octopus knows that his or the Abyssal Dive can't be cancelled. And the thing about Abyssal Dive though is that if it's casted out of vision, it's uninterruptible because it doesn't reveal where you're diving if you cast it out of vision. So that's why I thought opening with Abyssal Dive is better, but maybe he gets an equalized trade, taking in some poke, and what? Holy fuck. That hit me!
But I like how he's kind of zoning out the CS here a bit.
Again, but... Whoa! Hover over the items again? Is that a double null magic no Negatron cloak, just 2 null magic mantles.
Does that give
they
more?
grant this. No, they grant the same amount of magic resist, but it's interesting that they just go for that instead of Negatron cloak. Oh, see,
so
we
that's
just
what
saw
you
the
were talking
interaction,
about.
the cancel. He did
that's
he did a
gotta be very
backflip and then
painful.
instantaneous just stood there.
That's gotta be a very painful trade for Tom Kench.
Your panning sensitivity is extremely fast.
Yeah. I should definitely lower my DP. Okay, there we go.
There should be like a cinematic spectator view or something, but I guess there is delay. We have the tongue of dominance there, not hitting but providing a mental edge over spacing. Okay, another root lands. Okay, I can
Nico
definitely
might be
see why
very
people think
prominent.
Nico is scary now, because
Yeah.
now if Tom Kench lands an Abyssal Dive, Nico can land an
Ult,
ultimate and
yeah.
he can't leave.
So it's like a suicide mission to see who dies first.
All right,
Usual
well, I'm
description.
pretty sure Nico wins. My money's still on Tom Kench. I'm not going to be a fake fan. I still got
Yeah,
hope in
I
my
think
boy.
Tom definitely wins this. I believe in Tom.
Oh, I believe in him. I just don't think that objectively speaking he can win. Because based on the state right now, like, is Nico up CS? She should be, because he sacked a lot of minions. Yeah, she's up 3
Yeah.
CS.
Unfortunately,
But Tom
that wave
Kench
clear
is
too
farming
slow.
quite nicely. Only 5 CS down in this matchup, when he should be roughly 10 CS down by now. But... And this is the break point where Morgana was 7 CS down from Ziggs, so he is performing slightly better. Now catching up, 12 to 13. Oh, just walking over the healing shrine, being able to use it before the Nico can walk over it for mana back.
I think the Nico
Okay.
knows that Tom Kench is quite the dangerous opponent here, especially with the way he can close the gap between them. So she's trying to
But now that
accommodate for
Nico
that.
E is used, you can see how he's walking up and he doesn't get anything. Okay.
I think that she cloned, so her move speed was significantly faster than expected.
True. W does grant you 10 to 40% move speed scaling with level. What I like to do on Nico is that I clone and then I recall so it shows the helicopter Nico as it goes all the way down. That distracts my enemy while I can just flash root. But anyways, I'd really like to see a range devour. Maybe a W into a triple auto into maybe a flash from Nico. But the issue is the health advantage. Like, Tom Kench doesn't have any threat here. And he doesn't have any regeneration. He just has missing health healing. So regeneration, like on Dr. Mundo passive, or Doran's Shield passive, or Chrysaline Bracer, Warmog's Spirit Visage, Knight's Vow, all these items that grant you health regen. When you're not trading, it'll gradually help your health restore, while Tom Kench's Q, Tongue Lash, is a missing health heal. So if he hits that at a low enough health breakpoint and shields with the thick skin after taking enough damage, he might be able to actually reduce the base damage of Nico Ultimate to the point where his base magic resist can win him the 1v1. Now if he zones her out of the wave, oh, she roots him. But this is a window.
This is
Oh,
a
it's not a
good
window.
opportunity for him to close the gap now. Probably
There
DLC.
is roughly a 10-second window, and it's now 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nico E should be back up by now, and the wave is pushed, so it's not like he could go in anyway. However, okay, now Nico E is down for another 10 seconds. I'm assuming Nico did put points in its second.
Looks like
I
Nico's
really need
running
to-
low on mana though. So
She has lost chapter. The only way that Tom Kench wins this is if it goes to level 18 to the point where Nico has no more lost chapter procs, and Tahm Kench can freely just trade. Because she's now never gonna have the mana to push. But the issue, will 100 CS be achieved before level 18? That's the question.
I think
Looks
this
like it
is
won't.
definitely difficult, especially with the wave, especially is extremely detrimental towards Tahm Kench just pushing in, and he can't really do much about it because he doesn't have the same wave clear.
However, if you do look at the Nico E, when it goes through minions, it empowers the root and extends the range. And at max level, it's a 3-second root. So that's going to make Tahm Kench tank every single Q, which is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because all the damage lands, but it's also a curse because you're giving him more gray health to work with the more points he puts in his E. So on one hand, when Nico gains the mana regain from the shrine in the Lost Chapter, brought her from 20% to 45%, nice. That is a very weird abyssal dive.
I think that may have been a misclick.
Was he ganking the minimap? And now he's just rage tonguing down. Okay, shield cast?
I feel like I never want to hear rage tonguing down ever again. What's up?
I'm just saying what's happening, dog.
Oh,
there's the Nico ult, and it missed. It missed. It missed. And she has no mana. She has to use the health shrine.
Tom may win this. Tom may win this.
Come on, Tahm Kench. Come on, Tahm Kench. Okay, Pink Octopus, if you're hearing this, try to not shield. If you shield, you lose the gray health regen. Just save it for regen, trust me. Oh, unless he has the shield bash and he's trying to proc it.
Heal a little bit off that. I would try to get the heal shrine off this, actually. She doesn't have much in the way of abilities.
Get the shrine, get the shrine, get the shrine, get the shrine.
Oh,
Contest it.
Contest it. Contest the shrine.
Contest it, please, please. You have to contest it. No, it's not. Oh, it's lost.
Might be difficult.
Though Tahm Kench does seem to be pretty content. He's hovering at a pretty stable health bar, able to regenerate. He should pressure this. So the issue is Nico doesn't have lethal on Tahm Kench, but another issue is that Tahm Kench can't poke down. The fadeaway, the slow, the knockup, the ignite. Okay, wait. Well, the Nico has acquired taste stacks on it, so Tahm Kench has an advantage there. As long as he lands a Q or an auto attack before she Ws, he can see the real Nico by just looking at the stacks. This guy has balls of steel. Okay. Walking away.
Looks like the double
Nice.
toe might be actually very beneficial here, because he can actually just tank most of her abilities.
That is very true. Knowing that Guardian's Horn is a banned item, which would have clearly been the best, I would have went Null Magic into Guardian's Horn. The regen on that item is a little bit too broken. Added with the damage reduction from all those spells. Of course, Howling Abyss is typically played in ARAM. Oh, the knockup lands.
Lands?
We're gonna have to Q ult, Q ult, Q ult. Oh, damn it.
Very close one, though.
But the lower the health goes, the more Tahm Kench is favored, because Nico has flat damage. Tahm Kench has missing health healing, so he has the advantage here when it comes to... Very interesting. Okay. I gotta wipe my face after that one. Got some saliva. And see the health? See the health advantage? Being able to... And she can't poke him out now because his threshold of health and magic resist is now preventing Nico from dealing damage. So the more the levels go through, the less lost chapter procs that Nico has left to impact the game, but the closer both can get to 100 CS. And now we can see for the first time in this 1v1, Tahm Kench actually having push. And Squishy Mac is now living up to the name.
It's
Looking
not
quite
over
squishy.
yet for our friendly neighborhood Tom.
Friendly neighborhood Tom. He hasn't used Devour yet, so I'm hoping one time... Oh! Okay.
Very close, very close.
Point and click route. Oh, yes! Very interesting Abyssal Dive usage. Trying to kite out the spells, and we can see that he's now healing more damage than Nico can pump out. So at this point, if it comes to a 1v1, Tahm Kench should win. But if he wants to threaten the 1v1, he has to also threaten the 100 CS lead, because Nico can just choose Tear the Goddess.
Yeah, and also the XP advantage.
He does.
Yes.
So, because he was able to zone her off 2 waves, he now is able to farm with the safety of being able to zone her off because he knows that he's up stats, up levels, and he's the closest to rank 3 ultimate. Now, we do have to take note. Her ignite and her ult are back up, but very minimal threat is coming from the... Ooh,
That was very
damn.
clean. That was so
That-
clean.
I would say that that's quite dirty, but...
Just
anyways,
a little bit of slobber, just not that much.
ooh, we might have to get Nico tested after this game because that's a lot of DNA damage right there.
I'm pretty sure he brushes and cleans himself. That is very insulting. How dare you?
Well, he is the demon of gluttony, so it all depends on how he considers the word gluttonous to be. And he misses the tongue lash. Nico hits the E. Nico decides to all in with ultimate, doing more damage from a pigeon with a cracker.
I think that will end up being very painful for Nico later on. Because now
Well,
he's free to do anything.
the thing is that Nico actually can't damage Tom Kench now. And, whoop, I guess now she just dies. That was a very interesting flash.
Oh!
Oh, is it Zed and Akali moment? Ooh.
Oh! And she has no shrines. If I were Tom Kent right now, I would get my second shrine off as well. But I guess he doesn't really need to, because... Yeah,
One lick and he's already back at quarter HP.
It's insane. Give them the lick! Give them the lick!
Bam! Nice. Tom Kench, my boy, he did it. Okay.
Good on Tom
Ballin'.
Tom! Well played! Knew he was
So that brings Pink Octopus down to, or up rather, to 3rd place. And his opponent, who I believe is...
That was Swishy Mac. And
Squishy Mac. Squishy Mac is now 4th. So with Squishy Mac 4th and Pink Octopus 3rd, we will have our winners bracket finals, which will decide 1st and 2nd. Man,
alright, congratulations.
I am so happy. Keep banning Ziggs, guys.
Keep banning
They're much more
Ziggs.
fun to watch. Keep banning Ziggs. Get that rat out of here.
Alright, onto our finals and see you all in about 5 minutes. All right, we are back again for our finalists. And with my
Yep,
caster here.
again, hopefully I can be enthusiastic, meaning Ziggs will be Darius ban.
Oh, that's a danger.
You know,
It's pretty
I
smart.
really... Okay, we're in it, guys.
We're
Now
off
you
to a
got
good
me.
start.
Okay, we're off to the races. We're off to the races. My hair on my arms is flared up. My pores are open. The adrenaline's hitting. You know, we got the Ziggs ban. Life is good. You know, I got that 401k plan in the background, all set up. Got my pension plan ready just in case I have a heart attack from the amounts of fun we're about to have. Because there's no Ziggs. I'm exaggerating. Ziggs is not that boring, but just in ARAM specifically, it's just very linear.
Yeah,
And another Olaf ban. What is with Olaf?
he's just
Oh
too
no, never mind. My
powerful.
bad. That's the first Olaf ban. It's just that Quinette Olaf is a little bit disgusting. I think that was a Quinette Olaf ban because when she picked it, that made a huge difference. Totally.
It did. It was a canon event. A very important one.
Do. Again, Mordekaiser. As I say, AP set. Another AP set ban.
I'm curious what they're gonna be playing actually, especially the...
I really.
Oh, Akshan!
Oh.
Our first ADC!
Okay. Okay. Well, mid lane marksman, but can ADC? Yes.
If he has a gun, he is to be ADC. That is the rule. That is the rule.
So Urgot's an ADC.
He has a gun?
His arm is a gun.
Well,
what do you mean he has a gun? He is a gun.
gun is not really it. That doesn't really... Oh, Garen. Interesting.
Okay. Well, Commando Lux has a gun.
That is
Graves
different.
has a gun.
That is different.
Picking the Demacian synergy, I see.
Yeah.
Plus 5 damage. That doesn't exist. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
there's no home field advantage for picking a
God,
Demacian character with Garen.
Like, no, how did I die?
It's still a fair fight. I was just memeing around. But Akshan should be able to street sweep Garen.
Really?
But Garen did go snowball, so my money is on Akshan here. Also, because he's my
I think Garen
lookalike.
is absolutely.
If I had to
fist.
cosplay a champion, I'd have to pick Akshan because he's the champion I look the most similar to.
He is very suave looking, but he also looks like he's gonna tell you that he has $1 million locked up somewhere and then scam you out of $1 million. So I don't know.
Okay, no. That's the Nigerian prince that sent me an email yesterday. That's not Akshan. Akshan is more like he's like would you like to go to dinner with me? And then he'll run away. He's like, I have to go to the washroom after consuming all this expensive food. And then he'll just run away.
Diamond Dasher.
He's a dine and dasher.
That's
Yeah.
worse because there's the emotional scamming going on, but
more like a dine and hook shotter because he's gonna just like he's just gonna hook shot and just swing out to his Lambo and just drive off.
Lambo.
He does give me like a Errol Flynn Robin Hood kind of look.
Just has the very sharp jawline and very well maintained facial hair. I think it's definitely one of the best looking champs.
Indeed. I too struggle to play Akshan with 2 hands. Kidding. That's a joke. I can.
We're
play
gonna
him
clip
with 2
that
hands.
later.
And we don't have to. We don't have to. Both have Ignite. I really think Garen was more threatening with Snowball because Ignite on melee champions should be used for heal cut.
I do think this level is definitely more threatening, but we shall see.
My money is still on my lookalike Akshan, especially with the press the attack. My boy can literally, and if he goes the Guardian's Hammer, he's gonna have 10% lifesteal, and that might not seem like a lot, but that's gonna really help him in pushing because every time he pushes, he's gonna heal 4 health per auto, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you take into account that Akshan has a double auto attack passive, where the next auto is like Lucian's passive, where it deals 50% damage on the next target, it's gonna heal 6 per auto cast. So especially with Garen not being able to pick Stride Breaker up as a mythic, because of course you only have 1 recall, which is the one right now. I do think Garen does have the advantage here. in the early levels, but there will come a point where Akshan is just untouchable because there's so many level scalings in Akshan's kit, from the move speed scaling with attack speed from his passive. If he cancels an auto, he can kite better, to his
But
hook
doesn't
shot
that mean
cooldown.
that Garen will
Oh, there is an
definitely
interaction?
go in violently
Yep.
from the very get-go, as we're seeing right now, especially because we know that
very
Sean will
very
be
astutely analyzed. And we see that Garen's passive is also going to be quite hard because there will come a point where Garen will literally just have a Warmogs. After level 16, I believe Garen's passive will be maxed out at 10% max health every 5 seconds, which is practically half a Warmogs. That is very hard to destroy, especially if he also went second wind in this matchup. Then Akshan literally cannot play the game. But Akshan will be able to kite, you know, he can flash the flash, but the Garen auto Q silence combo is going to prevent Akshan from using hookshot, which is going to be a very hard spell for Garen to counter if he lets Akshan cast it for free. Akshan gets pushed here, classic range versus melee, when the melee champion has no range spells. Akshan should
might have an advantage because he seems to have a great deal of knowledge in Akshan's abilities and exactly how to counterplay around them. So I think.
Well, as we know, this guy is a Darius Juggernaut enjoyer, so he definitely is comfortable being on low health as he was in the Arya matchup. We see them exchange shields. Garen W in exchange for Akshan passive proc, which gave him turret aggro, but since it passive procced and also had the shield ready, Akshan was able to tank the turret shot. So that was a net even trade. Just like many of the other ones that we've seen today, this is a stalemate so far. The matchup is going exactly how it should. Both players are playing the matchup correctly. Akshan should get pushed into tower damage, and poking Garen when he walks up to farm, and then shielding the tower shot with Akshan's passive shield, and then regenerating on the wave with Guardian's Hammer boots and having 3 potions ready, as we see there. Well, we see, wow. So Garen opted for a double health item start, which is very intriguing into Akshan specifically, because we all know that Akshan only has flat damage. He doesn't have any percentage damage, so this Garen player takes that to the advantage and say, I know that if it comes to a certain point in the game, my regeneration out of combat is percentage HP. So if I itemize HP early and then outscale him in HP, I'll be able to find an all-in window in these random parts in the game and eventually be able to net a summoner advantage, which he should gain right now. That is a very complicated flash. But anyways, he one ult and he is dead. Yep, okay,
God.
guess it doesn't have to come there.
What?
So the
I'm so that was insane.
GG's to Insert F.
So you're
More like
telling me if Akshan had lasted just a little bit longer, this game would have been much more difficult, but Garen, knowing that, opted for an all-in so early into the game. That was only 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And that's on me then. I said that Garen was gonna win.
Well, I said actually I'm gonna win in hopes that spacing would be retained, but I guess flash for flash is exchanged quite awkwardly. So, yeah, and who knows? Maybe Kale does give a Demacian damage buff, because what that was the damage coming off of 2 health items, which is a little bit sus.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's insane, right?
That's Conqueror alone. That's Conqueror and Ignite alone.
That's
100% base damage Garen with runes. So with that, insert
base.
F, or I should say insert FF, because there's no way you can win against this guy clearly, is the finals victor in the winner's bracket for our tournament, and is the winner overall. So congrats, insert F, on winning first place in this tournament. And I thank you for picking interesting champions and dynamic champions, specifically Juggernauts, as we saw 70% mages, 20% marksmen, and you were the remaining 10% of champions left that were Juggernauts. So thank you for your champion diversity and for your intuitive game style and your both itemization and mechanical outplays. And that, I believe, marks my end of the cast. Quinette, would you like to add anything? Is there anything else we have to do before the ceremonious victory of Insert F ends, or shall we all bid each other farewell and
I would just
have a
like
nice
to
rest?
thank everyone for participating. These were some really fun games, extremely memorable, and We're getting some comments in the chat about having an interview with the winner. All right, I think that sure we can have a little bit of an interview with our participators and with the winner. Thank you so much for everyone, and see you next time. And thank you so much to my co-caster here for making this game even more interesting. I could not have done this without you, and yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I love League of Legends. Unfortunately, this is the game that I find my favorite. I struggle to wake up every morning. We will come back with, I believe we're doing the interview then.
Yes, yes.
So okay, so we'll come back with an interview with our winner, and yeah, we'll see you after the intermission.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you in like 2 minutes. All right. So we're back again with an interview with our winner. So how are you feeling after winning that?
Honestly, like, I thought I really messed up because, of course, Garen normally really gets poked out by Akshan really hard. So I was really nervous and I really thought I was gonna lose that. And I think we saw early on how the other player was really playing it very well and poking me down. And then I just realized if I just let it go on a lot longer, I'm just gonna end up losing the war of attrition. So I just have to go in. And then I went in and I realized I wasn't in execute range yet, but then, you know, the old tactics of the bush Garen worked where
Yeah.
you pretend to walk away, go to the bush, but then you flash right back. So,
My god, that was very beautifully executed. I was in shock. I need to go back and watch that game again because of how insane that was. I really thought that Akshan was definitely gonna like draw out the game longer, but you just were going in. That was very beautifully executed. Oh, were you very nervous about the initial Darius ban? Or were you kind of like confident in yourself that you could win regardless?
So actually Garen is my main.
Oh!
I actually love Garen. I just think that normally in 1v1s he's not very good, sadly. Simply because
I
anything
see.
Garen can do, there's another champ that does it better. So if you want a strong level 1 champion, Darius is much better. If you want, or like a strong 1v1 champion, normally Darius is just better. And then I was thinking maybe going Tryndamere, and then we saw things like the Tahm Kench come out as well, which I was having an eye toward.
So
but
there was
figured,
quite a mixed bag of things you were about to pick. Wow, that's a really large arsenal. In the first Darius game, I thought it was very interesting how you were able to completely, kind of absorb a lot of Ari's abilities. Like I really thought you were gonna lose there, especially towards the last part.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I did too, especially that one time when I was on 17 HP. I think that was just luck on my side a little bit there. I don't know, I didn't fully expect Ari to do that much damage, to be completely honest. I just thought, like, oh, I'm Darius, I can run in all funny. And then I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I can't.
Yeah, it's like, I was kind of cheering for Ari there, but you really proved me wrong. Darius is truly a very dangerous champion. I'm just kind of curious, especially with, like, with ranged matchups such as that. Like, how are you able to maneuver so well to, like, close the gaps between because you have a distance advantage on there, so I'm just kind of curious how you were able to like just play around that and like get into the zone for attacking.
Yeah, definitely. So, I do think it is really such a big factor, which is why I also really thought I was going to lose this final match. But, well, with Darius, at least you have like the ability for it not to be that bad, simply because you have the pull in, of
Yeah.
course. Um, but then with Garen, it's a little bit more risky because the only way you actually have to gap close is either to flash or to the little bit of movement speed with Q. So I kept having to sort of walk back and then wait for Akshan to walk towards me and then try moving back towards him at the same time to close the gap little by little. And then in the very end, when I leveled up, I realized that I had enough movement speed that I thought that I could get on him. And then after that, of course, using Flash. I actually think that I should have used, instead of Ignite, Snowball to help with that gap close a lot more. So I think Summoner spells are really one of the most important things to counteract that.
That was very beautifully stated. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on winning. You're very
Thank you so
skillful.
much.
No problem. I'm hoping to see you again in the next tournament, and hopefully it's
Yes,
bigger.
definitely. And thank you
Congratulations.
so much for organizing all of this, for casting it.
Oh,
It
no
was honestly
problem.
so much fun to play in.
Oh, I'm so glad for that. Thanks so much to our viewers for sticking with us and like watching and supporting. I see you have a lot of fans in the chat, and so happy for you. We will definitely have the official bracket posted in the server, and if anyone else is interested in this, like, please sign up for the next one that we host, and like, we're always happy to have more people participating.
Yes, definitely. And join the Discord server. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, please join in. We have many fun, up to no good, goofy things we're up to all the time. So, alright, that will be the end of it for today. Thank you so much to everyone, and hope you guys have a nice day, and until next time.